Welcome to fourth session of Module 3 of Economics and Management. This PPT has been prepared by referring many sources which includes figures, videos, contents from the internet. This PPT is exclusively used for the purpose of education and not for any financial gains. In this session, we will discuss about compound interest factors. The derivation of these factors will be taken up for discussion. There are 6 compound interest factors, and the last one is the gradient factor. We shall discuss all of them. Before we proceed further, let us understand what are these compound interest factors. These compound interest factors are the relationship between 3 different notations: P present worth, F future worth, and A annual worth. These interest factors will give the relationship between these 3 notations. Let us understand what are they. First, P is present worth or the present value. F is the future worth or the future sum. A is the uniform annual worth or equivalent uniform annual worth of a uniform series of payments spread over a period of time. N is the number of interest periods normally expressed in terms of years. Unless or otherwise we want to have an effective interest rate, it is always nominal interest rate, and N is always expressed as number of years. And small I is the rate of interest. Normally it is per annum, unless or otherwise it is stated. So if it is not per annum, it has to be stated very clearly whether it is per quarter or per 6 months or per month. Then only the corresponding effective interest rate will come into picture, or else it is always nominal interest rate compounded annually. The first factor is single payment compound amount factor. Single payment compound amount factor will give the compounded amount of a known single amount that is paid today. Today I am paying an amount of P. After n number of years I need to get F. In this case, P is known to me, F is not known to me. My intention is to derive a relationship between P and F. First, let me start with the basic notation. The future worth accumulated at the end of first year by referring the cash flow diagram, F1 is equal to, as usual, future worth is always given by principal plus interest. Here also we use the same notation. F1, that is the future worth accumulated at the end of first year, is equal to P, that is principal, plus P into I, that is the interest calculated on the principal. We use the same notation here. F is equal to P plus I, capital I. I is given by P into N into I. Since N is 1 here, since this is the first year, N is 1, I becomes P into I. So we take it as P plus I. I is given by P into I. Only these two terms will remain. So this is how it has been derived. The future worth accumulated at the end of year 2. F2 will be equal to amount that was accumulated at the end of first year, and we have seen that in compound interest, interest for the second year will be calculated on the principal plus interest earned during first year. So here in this case, the principal amount is not P, principal amount is F1. the new principal amount is F1, and hence the interest is calculated on F1. As a result, what happens? F2 is equal to F1 plus F1 into I. Same notation, instead of P, I am using F1 here because F1 is the new P for second year, and the total F2 is equal to F1 into 1 plus I. Putting the value of F1 in from the equation 1 in equation 2, the value of F2 is given by F2 is equal to F1 into same notation that we use. So here what we can do is that F1 into 1 plus I is nothing but P into 1 plus I into 1 plus I. How did we get that? This F1 has been replaced by this equation, P into 1 plus I. So P into 1 plus I has been obtained from this equation into 1 plus I. As a result, what will happen? 1 plus I is the common factor multiplied by P. Hence, it is P into 1 plus I the whole square. If I continue the calculation for F3, F2 is the new P. So, it is F2 plus F2 into I. So, it is nothing but F2 into 1 plus I. What do I do now? I replace this F2 with this P into 1 plus I the whole square. See, this will come over here. This F2 has been replaced by P into 1 plus I the whole square. So 1 plus I the whole square into 1 plus I. This factor remains the same here. So everything will be P into 1 plus I the whole cube. And if I continue the same way, I can say that Fn is equal to P into 1 plus I to the power of n. Now I derived the relationship between future worth F and the present worth P. The single payment compound amount factor Fn is equal to P into 1 plus I to the power of n. Here this bracketed amount 1 plus I to the power of n is termed as single payment compound amount factor. This is what we need to know. See, for this entire cash flow diagram, this for known P, F is given by P into 1 plus I to the power of n. Next, the reverse of this, single payment present worth factor. We have here P is unknown and F is known. In the previous case, P was known and F was unknown. In this case, it is the reverse of that. We have to calculate P for a known F. The entire derivation remains the same. There is no difference in the derivation. Finally, what do I do? F is equal to P into 1 plus I to the power of n. That has already been derived. Now, I just get the value of P from the same equation 7. Okay. As a result, what will happen? P is equal to F into 1 divided by 1 plus I to the power of n. Here this bracketed factor is termed as single payment present worth factor. In the earlier case, the bracketed factor, that is 1 plus I to the power of n, was termed as single payment compound amount factor. In this case, the bracketed amount of 1 divided by 1 plus I to the power of n is termed as single payment present worth factor. So if in any case, if P is to be calculated with a known F, I use this relationship. If you remember one relationship, you can get the other relationship very easily. The third relationship is uniform series present worth factor. In the earlier two cases, there was only one payment, present worth, single payment at t is equal to 0. F, that is the total accumulated amount or compounded amount after n number of periods. So this is the relationship between single payment present worth and single payment compound amount. The third relationship, we try to derive the relationship between uniform series represented by A and present worth P. The uniform series means it is continuous recurring amount. Just like the recurring deposit, what do we have in bank, or EMI, what do we have for loan payment, or LIC's insurance policies yearly payment, they are all same as that of uniform series. Why it is uniform series? Here I am making the payment either every month or every quarter or every 6 months or every year. At the same time, if it is a case of pension fund, I may be getting uniform series as monthly pension or quarterly pension or semi-annually pension or annual pension. So in any of these things, this series is uniform either every month or every quarter or every 6 months or every year. That is why it is called as uniform series, and it is represented by A. In this case, the value of A is known and the present worth will be calculated. This is the cash flow diagram. This is very clear here. See, this is the uniform series for n number of periods. As I have already told you, n could be number of years, number of months, number of quarters, like that. Okay. P is unknown and A is known. I am trying to derive a relationship between P and A. Let us continue. Having discussed about the cash flow diagram, how it appears, now let us try to derive the relationship between P and A. This is the cash flow diagram that we have just seen. See now, P is given by A divided by 1 plus I. Now just treat this as 1A. Okay, this is the second A. This is the third A. And it goes on like this. And this is A1, this is A2, and this is A3. And it goes on like that up to AN, and A1 is equal to A2, A2 is equal to A3, A3 is equal to A4, and everything is equal to A, and that's why this 1, 2, 3 is not considered. All of them are considered as A. With this, let me just come to this first payment here. P is equal to, what is the first payment? A divided by 1 plus I. How did I get this? A is nothing but a future amount that I am paying after 1 year. See here, there is a gap of 1 year. And hence, A can be treated as a future amount that is paid after 1 year. So what was the relationship between P and F? P is equal to F divided by 1 plus I raised to N. What is the value of N here? 1 year. That's why P is equal to this first payment A divided by 1 plus I to the power of 1. Now let us come to the second payment, this payment. It is at what distance from 0? It is at a distance of 2 years from 0, P. As a result, treat this also as a future sum paid after 2 years. As a result, what will happen? Its present worth is equal to A divided by 1 plus I to the power of 2. Now, third payment. When we are paying that? We are paying that after 3 years from t is equal to 0. As a result, what will happen? Treat this also as future sum paid after 3 years from t is equal to 0. As a result, its P is equal to A divided by 1 plus I to the power of 3. And if I continue like that, this is the amount that I am paying after n years. This is also A only. Hence, the last amount will be converted into P in this way, A divided by 1 plus I to the power of n. After calculating these things, now let us try to continue the derivation. What do we do now? I take A as the common factor. So it will be 1 divided by 1 plus I, 1 divided by 1 plus I square, and it continues like that. Now what do? I divide both sides by 1 plus I. Hence, I get P divided by 1 plus I, A divided by 1 plus I to the power of 1 will become 1 plus I to the power of 2. 1 plus I to the power of 2 will become 1 plus I to the power of 3. 1 plus I to the power of 3 will become 1 plus I to the power of 4. And if I continue like that, 1 divided by 1 plus I to the power of n will become 1 plus I to the power of n plus 1. You can see that here. Okay. 1 plus I is being added. Let us see what happens now. Now, let me subtract equation 14 from equation 10. This is equation number 14 and this is equation number 10. So, P divided by 1 plus I minus P. Okay. Subtracting 14 from equation 10. I mean P minus P divided by 1 plus I is equal to, what will happen? It is 10 minus 14. 1 plus I, 1 divided by 1 plus I square, this gets cancelled with this. 1 divided by 1 plus I cube, this gets cancelled with this. This gets cancelled with this. And similarly, 1 plus I to the power of n gets cancelled with this. This gets cancelled with this. So what remains now? A into this factor 1 plus I to the power of 1, what is being written here, plus, that is from equation 10, and 1 divided by 1 plus I to the power of n plus 1 from equation 14. This is only these two factors will remain, all other factors gets cancelled. So now P minus P divided by 1 plus I is equal to A into this much. Okay, now we have got this equation P divided by 1 plus I, and now we have also got this equation P minus P divided by 1 plus I is equal to A into 1 plus I, this thing. Now this equation, that is equation number 15, can be rewritten like this. So it is not equation number 14, it is equation number 15. Okay, this can be rewritten as P into I divided by 1 plus I. This is simplification, that's all. Okay. Now, when I simplify this equation further, that is by taking the factor of the left hand side towards right hand side, what happens? I get a very simple equation. P is equal to A into 1 plus I to the power of n minus 1 whole thing divided by I into 1 plus I to the power of n. This bracketed factor is termed as uniform series present worth factor. Next is uniform series capital recovery factor, which is nothing but the reversal of uniform series present worth factor. So we have already derived the equation for P and A. We will use the same relationship here. The only difference in the cash flow diagram here is P is known and A is unknown. Whereas in the previous case, A was known and P was unknown. We can use the same derivation, and finally we shall convert A is equal to P into 1 multiplied by 1 plus I to the power of n, whole thing divided by 1 plus I to the power of n minus 1. This bracketed factor is termed as uniform series capital recovery factor. How much capital is being recovered every period, that is termed as uniform series capital recovery factor. The next factor is uniform series compound amount factor. This gives the relationship between uniform series A, compound amount factor F. So this gives the relationship between A and F. Till now we have derived the relationship between P and F, P and A, and now the last set, that is the relationship between A and F. The cash flow diagram is as simple as that. Here A is there, and instead of P I am having F here. And what we need to understand here is that F is calculated on the nth year on which the last payment will be made, or the last cash flow will flow on the nth year. On that year itself I will calculate the F. Literally, this particular A will not earn any interest. That point you need to remember here, because I am investing today on that nth year, and I am calculating the compounded amount on the same day. As a result, this last payment will not earn any interest. Let us continue how the derivation. We will take the derivation of what we have already done. That is, we have already calculated P is equal to F into 1 divided by 1 plus I to the power of n. We have already derived that. Using that relationship, we also know that P is equal to A into 1 plus I to the power of n minus 1, whole thing divided by I into 1 plus I to the power of n. Now we know, as a result, on this also we have P, on this also we have P. Left hand side is same. Let us try to equate the right hand side. As a result, what will happen? F divided by 1 plus I to the power 1 divided by 1 plus I to the power of n is equal to A into 1 plus I to the power of n minus 1 divided by I into 1 plus I to the power of n. When I simplify this, F will be equal to A into 1 plus I to the power of n minus 1, whole thing divided by I. So this is the relationship between F and A. Here the bracketed amount is called as uniform series compound amount factor for an unknown F with known A. If I take the reversal of this, when we take the reversal of what we have already found, that is uniform series compound amount factor, we get uniform series sinking fund factor. It is very clear here. In this case, A is unknown and F is known. In the earlier case, F was unknown and A is known. Relationship is as simple as that. A is equal to F multiplied by I divided by 1 plus I to the power of n minus 1. These are the things which you need to remember. If you remember one, you can derive the other. This is the relationship between P and F. P multiplied by this factor will give you F. F multiplied by this factor will give you P. It is like this. See, this multiplied by this factor, you will get F. This multiplied by F will give you P is equal to P. That's why we need not have to worry too much. If we just remember one factor, that is single payment compound amount factor, uniform series present worth factor, and uniform series compound amount factor. If we remember these three, reversal of that are remaining three. So it's very easy. So remembering these three formulae are very essential to solve any problem. Let us highlight the points that we have discussed so far. First point is that whenever we convert a uniform series A to present worth P, it will be situated 1 year before the first payment. What does that mean? Let's look at the cash flow diagram. See here, the uniform series A has been started from first year. Where is its P? It is always 1 year before the first payment. First payment is on first year. So its situation, its P will be situated at 0th year. That is the meaning of that. If the uniform series starts from 5th year, where its P will be on 4th year, and it continues like that. If the first payment is on 8th year, its P will be on 7th year. From 8th year, it cannot directly jump to 0th year. It can only be pushed back by just 1 year. That's the another important point that you need to remember. Second point that is very important here is that while converting A to F, there will be cash flow on the last year also. This is how it appears. See here, when you are converting A to F, the last flow will be on nth year and F will also be calculated at the same time. Literally speaking, this cash flow will not earn any interest. So the entire derivation is based on this cash flow diagram. Okay, and if F is extended like this, if you want to calculate F here, you cannot use that relationship. How to use this relationship and still solve the problem, that we will discuss when we take up problems. But for the time being, let me tell you, this F A, whenever the relationship exists between F and A, this is how the cash flow diagram appears. Okay. The last type of compound amount factor is gradient flow. Till now we have discussed only constant flow. There could be payments wherein starting from the first year it may go on increasing like this, or starting from first year it may go on decreasing like this. Both are quite possible. Okay, when it is increasing, it is termed as increasing gradient. When it is decreasing, it is called as decreasing gradient. In both the cases, the increase or the decrease is by a uniform amount, which is termed as arithmetic gradient. These are the cases of arithmetic gradient, not geometric gradient. There is another form called as geometric gradient, which is not discussed here. Here we discuss the case of only arithmetic gradient. That means the gradient amount G is uniform. So A1 plus G, A1 plus 2G, A1 plus 3G, and it happens like that. Similarly, if it is decreasing, A1 minus G, A1 minus 2G, A1 minus 3G, and it happens like that. We will discuss all these cases when we take up the problems, and the derivation is not necessary. You can directly make a note of the formula. Thank you.